This video shows how to assemble your own illuminated fairy light belt using just these 4 pieces. There are 2 halves of the belt that look like long straps cut from vinyl, a set of fairy lights that you can turn on and off by simply flipping the switch with the batteries in their own case, and a wooden belt buckle. The buckle may have some protective paper on it on one or both sides, and if it does, simply peel off the paper before starting to assemble the belt. The first step in assembling the belt is to attach the buckle to the long rectangular part of the strap. It's going to attach to the end that has the single slit and the 2 notches. And it's actually going to sit between the slit and the notches. And what we're going to do is take the end of the buckle with a single slit and the 2 notches and take the belt with a nice side facing up, pass it up from the bottom of the belt through one hole, pass it down through the other hole in the belt, and then the rectangular slot has come through the other side. What we're going to do next is take the free end of the belt and pass the whole rest of the belt through this rectangular slot until these 2 notches sit inside the slot and the belt buckle is secure. So just pull the belt, and if it's twisted, then untwist it. Pull the belt all the way through the slot, and then keep sliding that slot closer and closer to the belt buckle until the belt has passed all the way through and the 2 notches we saw sit inside that single rectangular slot. And now the belt buckle is attached to half of the belt. The second step will be to connect the 2 halves of the belt in such a way that this piece that looks like the end of a guitar is going to form a pocket to hold the fairy lights. So what we'll do here is take the long piece with the guitar-shaped end. We're going to take the round curved end and pass it through these 2 slots on the opposite side of the strap containing the buckle. The easiest way to do this is kind of fold the rounded end in half, pass it under the first slot and over the second, so it's kind of passing through that loop formed by the 2 slots, and just keep pulling it all the way through. Easier if you kind of keep it folded until it passes all the way through, and if you flipped it over accidentally, then just flip it back. And then that narrow notch sits inside those 2 slots, like so. And now the 2 pieces of the belt are joined, and we want to fold these tabs into these slots to form a pocket. The easiest way to do this is go tab by tab, starting with the tabs closest to the bottom of the pocket, and then work your way out. So what you do is you take one of the tabs, fold it in half, and push it through the slot closest to the edge of the belt, like so, and pull it out from the other side. Then flip the belt over. It goes up through the slot closest to the edge, and it's going to go back down to the slot next to that. So you can fold the tab again and push it down through the next slot, like so. It looks like this from the top and this from the bottom. Now we'll repeat this process with the other tabs. So again, fold the tab, push it down to the slot closest to the edge of the belt until it goes through. Flip the belt over, and then it helps if you put your fingers kind of in the pocket area. You can then push the tab through the second slot closer to the middle of the belt. If you want to pull it through from the other side, that helps. Okay. Now take the next tab and do the same things till all the tabs are inserted in their slots. Oops. And there you have it. Once all the tabs are in the slots, you've got this nice little pocket, which is exactly the right size to hold the strand of fairy lights. So let's put the fairy lights in the belt so we can make it light up. The first thing to do is to unwind carefully the strand of fairy lights because it will be wrapped around itself. There's a loose end here. The fairy light strand bends pretty well and is pretty flexible, but you don't want to give it too much force or pull on it too hard because it is possible to break it. It's still pretty sturdy though, so it will hold up to being woven through the holes in the belt to make a nice little pattern for our belt. So unwind the fairy light and get it kind of as straight as you can. Okay. And there are 20 LEDs on this belt. Those are the little portions that light up, and they're little blobs. They look like just little blobs along the wire until you turn it on, and then you can see that they're illuminated. So what we're going to do now is wrap the extra wire around the fairy lights. And we want to leave about until the first light in the strand is a couple of inches out from the battery pack. And then we slide the battery pack into the pocket and find the loose end, find the other end of the fairy lights, and it has a light on the end, so just hold it carefully. We're going to poke that down. See, there's one hole in the belt close to the pocket. Poke it down through that hole. Pull gently, shouldn't take too much force. Pull it all the way down. And if it starts to get any twists, untwist it so it doesn't get any real kinks in it when you're pulling it through. Okay, and make sure that all the lights in the strand have gone through the pocket. Okay, so this is the first fairy light in the strand right here, and I'm going to need that to sit right on this first diamond on the belt. So then, once the strand has gone down through this hole, take the free end again and go up through the next hole in the belt, the nearest one to the one the light strand just passed down. So poke that end of the strand back up through this belt, through the hole, and you really want to make sure that the first fairy light in the strand, make sure there's no lights behind it, the first fairy light in the strand is going to sit right on top of this diamond. You can even kind of twist it, make sure it's in the right place to get it right in the middle as close as you can. And what we're going to end up doing here is weaving the end of the strand down through the diamonds and over the back of the belt until each of the lights on the strand sits in the middle of one of these diamond shapes in the belt. So push the fairy light strand down through the hole on the other side of the diamond, and don't pull too hard. If it's not going easily through the belt, kind of just hold it near the hole and keep pulling the strand through until all the lights go through. Gently. Oops. Gently, gently. And then again, if it's slid around a little bit, just fold it so that first LED sits right in the middle of the diamond. And then go to the back of the belt, and basically where this wire comes through the hole, just kind of bend it over. You can actually kind of crease it with your fingers to make it stay. So then we're going to pass the strand over to the next column of holes. So these two holes are filled with a wire. We're going to go diagonally back down to the other side of the belt and push the strand through from the back side to the front. So the next LED goes through, and again, it should look like this from the back. It makes a diagonal line across the belt. And now we're going back over to the other side of the belt. And if we bend the fairy light down, you might have to twist it a bit, we should get the second light. And if the lights have slipped, just move them with your fingers to get them in the right place. The second light sits in the middle of the second diamond. Okay? And again, we take on the front side of the belt, we put the end of the wire through the hole on the other side of the diamond, pull it all the way through, and again, try not to let it twist because you don't want any knots or kinks in the strand. Okay, so on the front side, the wire cuts across the belt. And on the back side, we fold it over and make a little diagonal to the next column of holes, okay, like so. And we're going to keep repeating this process till the wire goes all the way across the belt, okay, and untwist any twists that show up. Okay, and each time you go to the front of the belt, bend the wire down and position it so that that LED sits right in the middle of a diamond, like so. And if you want to make sure your LEDs are lined up correctly, every few stitches through the belt, you can, hang on, let's get that through. Every few stitches through the belt, you can turn on your lights and make sure they're lined up. Okay, that's pretty good. And if you want them really lined up, you can move them around a little bit. And if there's wire sticking out where you don't want it to be, you can kind of push it through on the back side. All right, but that looks pretty good. And we're just going to keep going all the rest of the way down the belt until all the wire is through all the holes, and each LED sits in the middle of a diamond on the front. Here we go. All right, and we have gotten to the very last hole. Because the last fairy light in the strand is right at the end, it's not really going to pass through that last hole. It's more or less going to sit on top of it. You can kind of lay out your belt and turn it on to see how it looks. And it looks pretty good. And if you want to, move any of the LEDs around a little bit to line them up better, that's fine. Though when you wear it, it's going to look great, and people won't notice if they're a little crooked. And then if you want to wear a belt, all you have to do is put it around your waist and slide one end through one side of the belt, slide the other end through the other, like so, and pull it through, and it should stay. Now, this is not a belt you can use to hold up your pants because it's not going to hold a lot of weight, but it's a nice decorative belt you can wear around your shirt. You wear it at night, people will be able to see you, and it's a lot of fun to wear because you will definitely stand out. I hope you enjoy this project.